Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast, the third video podcast in 3 days. That's got to count for something. It's probably more of a dedication here than I have to my regular channel, which is called Dave Does Cambodia. You can search for it, it'll show up. But here I am again. As always with me, a Single Eye, even if she's not visible. She's still always here. I'm trying to figure out the place for this microphone. Like, what's the perfect placement? I tried it on the sides. Didn't really seem to do that much. But I don't want to sit here and just do this. So I don't know. I don't know what's appropriate. That's the whole thing. But I do know that I hate any event or any kind of meetup that requires some kind of dress code. That's what's been on my mind. So that's what I'm going to talk about, because that's what this is about. Like funerals. Everybody expects you to dress up for a funeral. And I just don't agree with that, because I remember once back in the United States, I went to a funeral of a friend, and I went in jeans and a t-shirt. A lot of people gave me shit for that though. They said I was disrespectful and I shouldn't have done it, but you know, I knew the guy. And I was like, well, you know, his favorite thing in the whole world was Norwegian death metal. That was his favorite thing in the whole world. He loved it. I hated it. He loved it. Just one of those things. And now you want me to just come to his funeral in a suit and tie? I don't think so. I don't think he would have appreciated that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not really sure how to act at a funeral, especially when it's for people I don't know a lot. Like people who just, I knew them enough, excuse me. I knew them enough to go to the funeral, but I didn't know them enough to really know about them. But they want me to come and they want me to dress up, suit and tie. And I just don't understand why. Because listen, you at a wedding, where you're, you know, another one of those events, you're expected to dress up at a wedding. But still, all the women there, they kind of dress down, right? Because it's the bride's day. They don't want to outdo the bride. They don't want to be the center of attention, because this is the bride's special day. And I can understand that. But we should apply the same thing to a funeral, because you know, this is the corpse's special day. Whoever died, it's their special day. Let them just rest there in the casket with the suit and the tie and the fancy stuff, and just let me come there in jeans and a t-shirt. I think that's fair. I don't want to outdo him. I don't want people paying attention to me at a funeral because I have like a really fancy Armani suit, and everybody's coming up going, oh my God, look at you. You look great. Thank you for dressing up. And I'm like, there's a dead guy over there. I don't feel comfortable with them talking about me at a funeral. But I think the worst things are restaurants, because, oh my God. You know the kind of restaurants I'm talking about. The ones that require you to dress up. There's a dress code for a fucking restaurant. before you can go in and get seated and eat, you have to have a dress coat. You have to have a tie. Come on. Listen, I don't care. I don't care if I'm spending $10 on Burger King or $200 at your fancy establishment for some overpriced pork chops, just because you had the forethought to put the word cuisine in your fucking restaurant name. I don't care. Don't expect me to wear a certain outfit. As a matter of fact, I would say the more you charge for your food, the less of a dress code there should be. If I'm going to pay you $200 for a meal, I should be able to come in with, like, you know, one of those half shirts, and a pair of Speedos. As long as I can pay you, what does it matter? What do you care? You're getting paid. I'm going to eat. I'm going to pay you. That's the transaction we've all agreed upon at a restaurant. And I don't think we should have all these other restrictions in place. You can't wear certain things to a restaurant. Go fuck yourself. But it's really bad when you try to go in somewhere, like a restaurant, and they stop you because of that. Because now you're embarrassed. Like, now you feel like you're lower. You're on a lower standard than everybody else who's walked in before you. They're just looking at you like, oh no, we can't have you come in like that. You must wear a suit. And they're going to give you like a jacket, and they're going to give you a tie. You know, the ones from the back, the ones that are all covered with body sweat, and they smell bad, and they're covered in lice. You know, and they're just going to make you put that on just to eat their special food. I don't understand what's all that about. What is that all about? Can somebody tell me? I don't know. Because right back there, those are the pots, those are the pans, that's the sink that Singlai cooks from every day. And it is delicious every day. And guess what? I can be in my underwear. Nobody wants to see that. I can be without a shirt. Nobody wants to see that. But I still can. And that's the important part. And I also really, really hate these restaurants now that are, when you go in and you order something and you're trying to read what's in the meal, and they're giving you these long descriptions about your food. It's like a biography. I don't need to know any of that. You come in and they say things like, hey, the pork chop you're about to have was from a pig named Joseph. And he was free to wander around the farm, eating all the grass and anything he could without interruption. He was a very happy pig. And we dispatched him in the most humane way possible in order for you to get this pork chop. I don't give a shit, man. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if he was in a small cage being fed nothing but a little bit of barley and a bunch of human flesh from some serial killer who came in and you bought all the meat from him. I don't care. And I don't care if when it came his time, you had to kill him slowly and painfully with a plastic butter knife, just going like that until he died. 300 pounds. Oh, I don't give a shit. The only thing I care about is that my pork chop is cooked correctly and that it comes with a baked potato. That's what I care about. Oh, and by the way, that baked potato better be organic, because I may be mean, but I'm not a fucking monster. Give me those organic potatoes. Not all those with the big pesticide chemicals in it. It's ridiculous. No, I'm talking about pigs. Oink, oink. Yeah, meat. Yeah. Like, do you care where they come from? You don't care. You know, it's like here in Cambodia, we go to the market, right? We go to the market, and there are just parts that have been chopped up, parts of the pig, and they're just laying there. And then you go, how much for that one? Right there. And then they tell you a price, and you say okay, and then they chop it up for you, put it in a bag, and off we go. And then you come home, you come back here, and you use those tools, and you make something delicious. And I'm like, oh yeah. And then my tits get big. But you like, oh, me. Yeah. Right? It doesn't matter where that pig came from. But all I'm saying is if it came from like Russia, maybe it came from Chernobyl, has an extra leg, more meat for me. I think we worry too much. As Westerners, I think we worry too much. We go to the point of being safety oriented to being overly safety oriented, if that makes sense. Like some things obviously are safer than others, but when you take that a step too far and you start making all these rules and regulations, it just becomes a chore, because you never know what you're going to do. Like there's an old guy in Florida, he's like 80 something years old, and he's already been arrested like 3 times, and his crime was coming out and cooking food for homeless people. And according to the police there, the crime was he didn't have a license. So they're saying, hey, we don't know about the safety of the food or the quality of the food or anything, because he's not licensed, we can't regulate him. He's giving food to fucking homeless people. Food to people that need food to live. Just leave them alone, man. I don't understand what the big deal is. It's ridiculous to me. And yet, you know, that's just the way it is, I guess, now back in the United States. We have those same regulations at work. Everybody, they just, like, safety is good. Safety should be a priority. But when they went above and beyond what should just be safe, they just made a mess of things. We have this illusion of safety, and that's what it is. All right? The illusion of safety. The TSA at all these airports never caught, have never, ever, ever caught one terrorist. That's their job. That's their main job. They've never done it. But now you have to get to the airport 6 hours early, just in case you have to go through, and they have to check your shoes and your socks and do, you know, put the finger up to make sure you're not a drug mule or something. They never got a terrorist, but we all have to suffer through it now because they've just overdid something that should have just been easy. After 9/11, it should have just been, hey, we will just check everybody for these things. It would have been much more efficient. We could have got through the lines easier, but now you never know. They're kind of like, hey, we're going to throw a surprise in there, like you might get checked, you might not. Get there 6 hours early to take your chances, because if we find something that we don't like, we'll have to take you into a room, we'll have to empty all your suitcases, we'll have to ask you questions about why that color underwear? Looks suspicious to us. And it's all a bunch of nonsense. They're never going to catch anybody. They never have. They're never going to. It's just so that we can have this feeling that we're being protected by something. And we're not. I've said this before, man. This world is a very chaotic, unpredictable place. You can put all the safety measures you want in motion, but still, the universe is going to do what it wants. Mother Nature is going to do what it wants. You're not really protected from anything. But as long as we have that illusion that we are, people buy into it. They just go, okay, yay. Another anal probe. I'm all for that. I was just trying to get into the 7-Eleven, but I guess the security guard thought, well, it was kind of a threat. And that would be horrible, getting anal probed because you want a slushie. But that's about where we're at now, unfortunately. I don't really have much more to say tonight. I was just thinking about those things. And as always, I thought I'd just share them with you in the best way I know how, and hopefully this mic held up its end. All right. Check out all my links down below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Hey! That was an extra.
Mau move masih.